Welcome back sa aking channel mga kasweet at magandang araw sa inyo. So ayon na nga sa isang abogado ni Vice President Sara na si Atty. Poa, hindi nga sila sang-ayon sa opinyon ng ibang mambabatas na ang Consolidated Verified Answer ad Cotelum kanilang ipinasa sa House Committee on Justice ay isang non-answer. Sa ngayon ay hindi pa nga tiyak kung dadalo ba si Vice President Sara sa hearing sa March 25 ang umpisa nga ng hearing. Depende pa nga ito sa payo ng mga abogado ni VP Sara kasi walang bentahe ang pagdalo at kung hindi naman sila pahihintulutang mag-cross-examine o sumubok sa kredibilidad ng mga testigo, mas mabuting hindi na lamang sila dumalo sa pagdinig sa Kongreso. At dito sa interview ni Attorney Michael Poa ay parang nangangamoy technicality. Parang mauuwi na naman ito sa Supreme Court. Panoorin natin ang video.
All right, joining us this morning is one of the Vice President's lawyers, Attorney Michael Poa. Attorney Poa, good morning to you.
Good morning, Ms. Karen, and good morning to everyone that's listening and watching us. Thank you for having us on your show again.
All right, were you surprised on the House panel's decision that it found grounds for the impeachment against the Vice President?
Not really. I think this is something that we already anticipated and expected.
Expected na.
Okay, is that the reason why the legal team decided to give what they called a non-answer to the third impeachment complaint? Bakit daw holistic ang denial nyo sa allegations, hindi po isa-isa?
Opo, pagdating naman po dito, no, we respect the views of our lawmakers and various personalities who have been giving their opinions on the matter. However, with that being said, we disagree with the framing that it is a non-answer because that disregards the fundamental points that we are raising. No? And one fundamental point is the failure to allege essential facts that would constitute the impeachable offenses that they are charging her with or accusing her of. So pag sinabi nating ultimate facts, I guess it's a bit legalese, no? So just to, if I can explain, Ms. Karen, pag sinabi natin ultimate facts, ito yung under the rules na kailangan nating i-allege sa bawat complaint o reklamo. So to simplify it, kung meron kang sinasabing ginawang krimen ng respondent, which in this case is the Vice President, dapat ilahad natin yung elements ng krimen na yon. For example, they are accusing the Vice President of committing the crime of plunder. Plunder, ang elements nun is one, you are a public official. Second, that yung that public official was able to amass, accumulate, acquire ill-gotten wealth, no, through a series or combination of overt acts. Ngayon, I think given naman na public official ang ating Vice President, pero nasaan yung allegation that she was able to amass and accumulate, diba? Lahat ng sinabi nila doon, at least sa pananaw namin, ay conclusion of law.
Yes,
no?
conclusion.
Or at least speculations, self-serving conjectures. Pag sinabing nagnakaw o pinakit yung pera, kailangan mo sabihin, paano napunta sa kanya yung pera? Yun yung mga bagay na hindi na-allege. No? And then,
So wala silang ebidensya doon.
yung sinasabi nilang pagpepresenta ng SALN at sinasabi nilang nagkaroon ng ill-gotten wealth. Pag pinakita mo yung SALN, tapos bigla kang magko-conclude na meron ng ill-gotten wealth dahil may increase sa SALN, to us, that is again another conclusion of law. And that is why, those are just examples just to simplify the matter. But that is why in our answer, we pointed out that fundamental defect na anong sasagutin namin dito, wala namang kayong material allegations na inilagay o inilahad sa reklamo.
Okay, now tatanungin lang kita because ang sinasabi nga po nila is basic recital of facts should have been already sufficient in substance. The two allegations on spending 125 million pesos in 11 days, the non-explanation of the 600 million plus in confidential funds. One would think not that that would have been sufficient enough to cast doubt and in effect for the Vice President needing to explain.
I understand that, Ms. Karen. We understand that point. However, let me just point out, the spending of 125 in 11 days in itself is not a crime.
Yes.
So, ano yung kailangan nating sagutin doon? When we talk about the confidential funds, the 612, conveniently, they omitted the fact that as far as DepEd is concerned, meron kaming credit notices doon, which means COA cleared the disbursements. Pagdating sa disallowance na sinasabi nila sa Office of the Vice President, aside from the fact that that is not a final decision or has attained finality just yet, nakakalimutan nilang sabihin na 73 million lang at hindi buong 125 ang na-disallow. So as you can see in these complaints, conveniently, no, they omit certain facts and then they present certain facts that by itself are not criminal acts. No? So and then they support these things with, of course, I don't want to get into this kasi ito naman ay evidentiary na. But when you have to deny certain things and specifically deny, no, na mention yung specific denial eh. One, they have to be material averments or allegations, which we feel they weren't. Secondly, if there are actionable documents. Actionable documents are like contracts, for example, where the Vice President participated in a contract na wala namang ganun. Ang naka-attach sa complaints are PSA records saying na walang ganitong tao. And then the acknowledgement
Mary Grace
receipts, the
Piatos na naman.
infamous Mary Grace Piatos, which in itself is not a crime. Diba? Ang
Yes.
parating nga nating sinasabi, itong mga ganitong use of aliases, they are not uncommon in the intelligence community,
Confidential nga
intelligence operations. So, kailangan nilang kumbaga, pag ikaw ay naglahad ng facts, you have to say that these are the elements of the crime. And sa aming pananaw, of course, again, this is with respect to their views. No, I think it's natural that because they are complainants and we advocate for the defense, that we will have differing views. So I do want to state for the record that we respect their views. They're entitled to it. Pero sa amin, ganito yung aming pananaw na hindi na-establish yung mga elements.
But Attorney Powa, wouldn't that have helped in your response? Exactly what you just explained to me today. Instead of an outright denial, your explanation on the 125 million and the 600 million, because you pointed out certain aspects that for you were neglected or lacking or not included. Wouldn't it have helped if you included that in the response?
Perhaps, Ma'am Karen, if you think about it that way, perhaps it would have been more detailed. But if you read the answer, we actually went point by point, even dun sa allegations sila, in claiming that they were sweeping conclusions, no, and conjectures. So, ang hirap kasi sumagot pag hindi naman material fact yung binibigay sa'yo. Pag binibigay sa'yo is a sweeping conclusion. In fact, I listed them down, but it would take so long for us to discuss this matter. But if they say, okay, the Vice President appropriated or mishandled confidential funds, how do you now answer to that when that in itself is a conclusion? For example, parati akong tinatanong nito kasi ang parating lumalabas is yung video, hindi ba? And they're saying that it's a threat. But characterizing it as a threat for us is in itself a conclusion of law. Diba? Is it a threat or is it not a threat? And that is something probably that is better discussed during a full-blown trial.
Does the Vice President want to go to a full-blown trial at this point?
Sa amin, the Vice President is just really seeing how these things develop. And then if it goes there, I guess it's not about wanting to go. It's about being ready to face trial if it indeed goes into trial. But having said that, there has been statements made about, and I respect all the lawmakers who have said this, and not even the lawmakers, but the personalities, that there will be, in the hearings, there will be a mini trial. We have to state also that we do not agree with the characterization of a mini trial. Why? Because, as we've already heard, the lawyers of the Vice President cannot even object. We cannot examine or cross-examine these witnesses. So we do not feel that it is correctly termed as a mini trial.
Oo. I have to agree with you on that because the Constitution is quite clear. Even for a layman, no, sa ordinaryong tao, the impeachment complaint has to come from the House. And if it passes, it has to be sent to the Senate. And it is the Senate that will convene as a court. In other words, dapat walang trial o mini-trial o anumang pagdinig doon sa House
Yes,
Justice
totoo.
Committee. So if I were to ask you now, you supposedly gave a non-answer. So the other side does not want to reply anymore to your response. So now the House panel has decided that it finds sufficient grounds, no, for the impeachment. Para sa'yo, ano dapat ang mangyari after?
Ang mangyari po dapat, and I think the chairperson also said this in one of her interviews, and I totally agree with her. No, si Chair Luis Tro mentioned this. Ang Committee on Justice sa aming pananaw, ang role niyan is akin to isang prosecutor, no? Pag magpa-file ka ng isang criminal case before the fiscal or the office of the prosecutor, ang gagawin niyan is to determine probable cause. So titingnan niya ngayon yung complaints, and they have to be limited to the four corners of the complaint as well as the pieces of evidence or affidavits that are attached to that complaint. And based on that, they will now evaluate kung sa tingin nila may probable cause to then transmit these complaints as articles of impeachment to the Senate. Yan ang aming pananaw. And that's why, when ang sa tingin namin, and that's why when we're saying we have to also, kailangan natin paintindi sa ating mga kababayan, when they say the Vice President is refusing to answer, etc., etc., let's remember that in our legal system, there's always a presumption of innocence. And that means that it is not incumbent upon the accused to present, or the respondent to present her defenses up until the proper stage, which is a trial, no? Because sa ngayon, ang prosecution or ang complainants in this case, sila dapat ang magpatunay na may basehan yung mga reklamo nila. So it's not the refusal to answer. Rather, the burden of proof now lies with the complainants to show na meron talaga silang ebidensya at basehan. In fact, we've heard statements that the evidence is overwhelming. For example, hindi ba? Kung overwhelming ang evidence, why are we now hearing also statements that subpoenas will be issued for additional documents?
Parang pananakot
It's a bit contradictory on our part. No? Kung overwhelming ng evidence, then let's evaluate the evidence that were attached to the complaint.
Ibig sabihin,
and from there, perhaps a determination on probable cause.
Parang nangangalap pa lang ng ebidensya.
Okay. But coming right now, no, with the fact that the House Committee already declared that the third complaint is sufficient. Tapos meron pa kasing fourth complaint
Apo.
Ideally, dapat in the process, because, I've covered already 3 impeachments at this point.
Yes.
And there should be no mini trial or anything after. In other words, ang tanong, if they've already decided na sufficient, do you believe na dapat pa ba dumating ang mga abogado doon tulad ninyo? Pag-uusapan pa ang merits ng kaso.
Dapat sa Senado na talaga.
Na-declare na sufficient, magbotohan na sila. Diba? Dapat ganun. Magbobotohan na if they will send it to the Senate.
I will, Ms. Karen, I will leave that to the wisdom, syempre, of the committee. No? Tayo naman, bilang abogado, nire-respeto natin pa rin ang proseso ng committee under the rules ng impeachment proceedings sa House. No? Meron naman talaga dong once all responsive pleadings have been filed, pwede silang magkaroon ng hearing. No? Nakasulat naman talaga doon that they will conduct a hearing. So, for me, of course, in my experience in criminal litigation, ang hearing sa fiscal usually clarificatory by nature. No? So kung may kailangan lang i-clarify sa mga parties, nagkakaroon ng hearing. And even then, kahit naman sa fiscal, bawal magkaroon ng direct or cross-examination ng mga abogado. Pero pagdating dito, yun nga medyo wala naman talagang participation ang mga lawyers. In fact, the chair already stated that the lawyers are only there to assist our clients, in this case the respondents. So the respondent and maybe the witnesses, kung may mga witnesses man yung complainants, and the lawyers will be there. But again, we cannot cross-examine, so we cannot even test the credibility of the witnesses.
So yun nga ang tanong ko. Attorney Poa, no, I wanted to ask you, because since the committee found the 2 complaints, the grounds sufficient, they said that they will move to what they call a hearing proper. where number one, the evidence will be examined, witnesses will be heard, the respondent will be given a chance to address the questions. Unang-una, will the team of the Vice President attend this? Or this sounds already like the job, frankly, for the impeachment court.
Well, the problem here is based on the statements made, we cannot attend kung wala ang aming kliyente. Diba? Because I think our job is only to resist, but to assist. So we cannot attend, but definitely we will monitor the proceedings, at kung may makita kaming mali, of course, we'll have to at least file the necessary motion, manifestation, or something. Whether or not the committee will even acknowledge those motions or manifestations, of course, that is up to the committee. But that's all we can do. What we can do is protect the rights of our client. That's all we can do right now. So
Okay.
we are, sa totoo lang, yun nga hindi kami maka-object. So kung talagang aakyat to sa Senate, then perhaps, dun lang talaga kami magpa-participate.
Yes.
Because what I find interesting is the fact that the committee already found the 2 complaints grounds sufficient, and yet the committee will still hear it and check if there are sufficient grounds for impeachment.
Yes.
Sa isang ordinaryong tao, very confusing yun. Di ba?
Kahit sa amin, very confusing yon, to be honest.
Kasi ano ba? Sufficient ba siya? Dapat if it's sufficient in form and substance, tapos na. Magbotohan na kayo, magdesisyon kayo. Aakyat ba yan o hindi?
I think, I don't want to put words into the mouth of our lawmakers.
Yes.
So baka mas magandang i-direct sa kanila
Sa kanila
kung bakit
galing.
pa sila mag-hold ng ganitong hearings. Although I have to admit that it is in the rules of the House. So tayo, we will just abide by the process. Kung question, will definitely hit at the appropriate time. And of course, we are not naive with the fact that this is both a legal and a political exercise. No? So sa atin naman, basta we're here to protect the rights of our client.
Okay. Attorney Powa, is it possible at any point that the Vice President will attend the hearing proper in
Palagay ko
the
hindi.
lower house?
Sa ngayon, I don't want to say anything with finality. To be very, very honest with you, I have not spoken to the Vice President regarding this matter of attendance. But all of this will depend on the advice of counsel. And if sa tingin namin na there's nothing to gain from attending all these hearings, then we will advise her not to do so.
Yes.
Okay. At this point, for now, do you believe that there's any advantage in attending?
Well, sa ngayon, this is my personal opinion. So
Advantage.
I don't want to say that is the opinion of the Vice President. But if we cannot cross-examine or test the credibility of the witnesses that will be speaking against her,
Totoo.
then I do not see any advantage in that.
Yes.
All right. On that point, anything you want to add, Attorney Powa?
Wala naman po. I just wanted to thank you, Ms. Karen, for giving us the opportunity to at least air our side and put our side on record. And tayo naman, we are willing to go through the process. We will be monitoring the developments in the House, and we are here to protect the rights of our client, which is the Vice President.
On that note, Attorney Michael Powa, thank you for joining us today.
Totoo yung sinabi ni Attorney Michael Powa na wala namang magiging advantage sa pagdulo doon sa hearing na yun. Wala magiging disadvantage pa nga dahil siguradong pagkakaisahan si VP Sara doon kapag siya ay dumalo. Ang nangyayari nga, pinasasagot si VP Sara sa mga aligasyon nila, mga akusasyon na wala naman palang mga matatibay na ebidensya. Pinasasagot si VP Sara dahil nag-fishing expedition lang sila eh. Nangangalap lang sila ng ebidensya na akala nila kakagat si VP Sara sa pananakot nila. Well, sa palagay ko, hindi talaga a-attend si VP Sara sa March 25 at kung ano pa mang hearing doon sa Kongreso. Dahil nga, hindi pa na-declare na kasi kung sufficient na ang complaints in form and substance, so dapat iakyat na ito sa Senado. So bakit may nangyayari pang mga kadramahan sa Senado na pahiring-hiring? So talagang ang agenda lang nila, mangalap ng ebidensya laban dito kay VP Sara. So dapat talaga sa Senado na ito inakyat na sa Senado at doon na magkakaalaman sa Senate trial. Kaya't mas maganda na hindi na dumalo dito si VP Sara sa impeachment kuno hearing na ito ng Kongreso. Ano ang inyong opinion mga kasweet? Abay mag-comment na kayo sa comment section at magkita-kita ulit tayo.